I think at this point, we can see I think the initial Taiwanese government funding is around like 5 billion Taiwanese dollar, and then Taiwanese government has like double it or threefold. So, and let's give a signal that if China already accept Taiwan, and Taiwan government won't need to add the funding by twofold, threefold. So then should be some reaction already transferred to Taiwanese government for Taiwan's initial submission. So, and move to the second question, and actually why I put WTO and TPP in parallel, because it should be some positive lesson from that. And that time, I think in the GATT period, the resistance of Chinese government to allow Taiwan to join GATT is even bigger than to reject Taiwan to join the TPP. So it's an international political leverage for the U.S., for the TPP members to include Taiwan, and in order to expand TPP to the possible inclusion of China. So that's why I drew the parallel lessons.
Very
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, at the end of the
Can
page.
you say a little bit more about intellectual property aspects of this? Because in Taiwan, there's a lot of concern in companies about intellectual property, including metal detectors for employees going into the buildings. So would this strengthen intellectual property laws, weaken them, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah. And I think for the IP right development in Taiwan, probably it's I'm hesitant to say that in the U.S. because every time I say that to discuss this topic with my U.S. colleagues, I always got some white eyes. And actually, the strategy of Taiwan for IP protection is to pirate as high as possible in the developing stage, and then as the economy is mature enough, then Taiwan tend to protect the IP right. So it's really depending on the development stage of Taiwan for the understanding how IP rights should be protected. And for many developing countries, they use this to argue that they need a lower IP rights protections level in order to develop their own economy. And for Taiwan's nowadays development stage, I think should be put at the same level as in the neighboring country like South Korea or Singapore. And at this stage, Taiwan can enforce the same level as the TPP nowadays require. And it turned out we are also to strengthen its own national security by enforcing the IP rights, because as we understand that in mainland China, they really trying to develop in some like chip productions, but they still cannot have the core technology at this stage. So my understanding is that Taiwan should be in line with the TPP position in regarding IP protection at this stage.
Yes, Carlos?
So I'm going to basically ask Larry's first question again from a different angle. So, is Taiwan really ready to negotiate an agreement like the TPP that is so intrusive into domestic law that's going to require major changes to laws all across the spectrum, especially when the Taiwanese legislature has a reputation for being a place where administrative initiatives go to die? At least it has over the last 4 years. So that's the first part. And then the second part, the next Taiwanese president is going to come into office in less than a year, and whoever
she may be
she
someone
is, whoever she is, what advice would you give her in terms of getting Taiwan ready to enter the TPP down the road? What can she do to make Taiwan's case stronger when the time does come to negotiate entrance to the TPP?
First of all, I think Taiwan's initial negotiation position in a potential TPP negotiation is already better than half of nowadays TPP negotiating parties. So let's put.
You mean better than the current, half of the current 12?
Yes, half the current 12. Regarding
since you're a diplomat, we won't ask you to name the bottom 6.
Yeah. So, and if you have like you have already mentioned the name Chao, if you know her background, actually he was strongly involved in Taiwan's negotiation into the accession procedure, and actually it's for WTO. And actually I was her master's student of international trade law, and Ma Ying-jeou was my international law professor.
Boy, you really are a diplomat.
Yeah, and so at that time we translate all the bunch of the Uruguay's wrongs agreements for her, because she is too busy to translate by herself. But if we consider the timing that time in 1990s, of course, it won't have such a barrier in the legislative yuan to block any trade deal Taiwan have created internationally. And so actually I don't have an answer for this. We can just hope what is the outcome for next election in next year. So yeah.
What makes it interesting, well, the point I was trying to make is that many of the constituencies in Taiwan will be pulled in two directions. They'll be subjected to what we call in the social sciences cross pressures. On the one hand, their desire to have Taiwan have a higher international status in the world and an affirmation of its, legal standing in the world, and also a diversification of its trade in the world, will lead them to be very enthusiastic about the TPP. But on the other hand, some of these domestic constituencies, once it hits them in the pocketbook, that they'll have to make some sacrifices or open up their own markets to more competition. They won't like that aspect of it. But the reason why I find it so fascinating is that the former may dilute the opposition that would naturally emerge in terms of the usual, economic and market interests. Anyway, if there are no other questions, we will thank Joseph for this really excellent presentation, and really congratulate you on using your time here so productively. So thank you, Joseph. Thank you all for coming during the summer.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure we can promise you another summer seminar, but we will resume in the fall with a lot